On that note, I'd like to invite to rise the guest speaker for today's occasion, Dame Julie Oka Donli, LLB, BL, FCIS, ACARB. Born on the 30th day of December 1966, Julie Donli obtained her Bachelor of Law from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and won the best prize for the annual Dean's Moot Court competition in 1990. She was called to the Nigerian Bar in 1992. Ladies and gentlemen, she has worked with reputable firms such as Anthony Gene and Co., S.Y. Jai as an associate from 1996 to 2002. Securities and Exchange Commission from July 1, 2002 to October 2, 2005 as a manager in the Secretariat and Legal Administrative Department. She was appointed legal advisor, company secretary of the Nigerian Capital Market Institute, an affiliate of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Abuja, from June 2005. Ladies and gentlemen, coming down quickly, currently, Julie Donli is the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the United Nations Voluntary Trust Fund for Victims of Trafficking in Persons, UNVTF. She's also the founder and executive chairman. Okay. She is also the founder and executive chairman of the Roost Foundation, a non-governmental and non-profit organization that aims to curb the menace of irregular migration, human trafficking, sexual and gender-based violence, while providing legal, humanitarian, and financial support to victims. Ladies and gentlemen, following her appointment as Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of I took that. She's the principal counsel of Julie Oka and Co., a firm of legal practitioners. She's also the founder, Julie Donli Kidney Foundation, a non-government and non-profit organization set up to assist in the patient suffering from kidney failure. Following her appointment as Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, in 2017, Julie Oka Donli came as God's anointed vessel, hit the ground running in no time, and made a mark and served in that capacity until December 2020. Please put your hands together for that humanitarian. She did. As at the last count, she had over 190 honors and awards in recognition of her wonderful job in this industry. She's rated as a prolific writer, having written 3 books, a passionate caregiver who made it a point of duty to visit victims at the shelter and hospitals to celebrate them, and she's a lover of children. The way she's smiling, she loves me too. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we make welcome the articulate, brilliant, and celebrate guest speaker, Dame Julie Oka Donli, FCIS.
Thank you very much. The President, Chairman of Council, Mr. Bode Ayeko, FCIS, please allow me to respectfully stand on the very well-established protocol by our indefatigable registrar. Very glad to be here. Should I just carry on with one to save time? Okay. It is a great pleasure and honor to be invited to address you today on the induction ceremony of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. Congratulations to all the inductees, friends, and families that have supported them to this point, that have supported you to this point, and of course, the staff and management team of the Institute, without whom we would not be here today. It is marvelous to see many chartered secretaries and administrators here today. It is truly an august gathering, and I believe there's nothing that is impossible for us as chartered secretaries and administrators if we understand our worth and potentials. What is Icsan? The Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria is a leading, recognized professional body in Nigeria, dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. Icsan happens to be the only professional body authorized in Nigeria to conduct the examinations leading to the qualification of chartered secretaries and administrators. And I must say that this is one professional body whose relevance can never go extinct. Now, I'll quickly run through some objectives of Icsan. I don't know where he is, but I've gone beyond this. I'm with some objective of Icsan. I'll go with my paper. To develop and promote the professional ideals, standards, ethics, code of conduct, and interest of the chartered secretaries and administrators, to encourage potential secretaries and administrators to acquire professional qualification, organize continuing education programs and refresher courses for the profession, to create opportunities for social interaction, communication, and solidarity among the members, to establish student action for the encouragement and development of student activities. Now, the relevant regulations. The Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators was established more than 50 years ago as an associate of the international body, Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, and it became chartered by Decree 19 of 1991. Now the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, Act Cap 113, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004. Today, as chartered secretaries, you become members of one of the most prestigious, dynamic, and relevant professional bodies in the country. In 2020, the Companies and Allied Matters Act was amended to underscore the importance of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators and its members. Section 2 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, which established the governing board of the Corporate Affairs Commission, made it mandatory to have a representative of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria in the commission. Section 295 of the Act also lists chartered secretaries as part of the qualified professionals that can be appointed as a company secretary of a public company. By the provisions of Section 332 of the Act, any public company that has not appointed a secretary at the commencement of CAMA 2020 must appoint a secretary not later than 6 months after the commencement of the new CAMA. And this means that all medium, large, and public companies are required to have company secretaries. Under the Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, there were no restrictions on the type of company that must have a secretary. The law only required every company to have a secretary. However, Section 330, subsection 1 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 provides that every company except a small company shall have a secretary, but no provision was made for the qualification of the person to be appointed company secretary. Most private companies have adopted the provisions of Section 295 of CAMA, generally appointing chartered secretaries as company secretaries. The truth is that as a chartered secretary an administrator, you have an edge over every other person. I remember when the governor of Bayelsa State then, Chief Timi Prisilva, wanted to appoint an executive assistant. You know, the moment he saw my CV, I did not even know him, he had never met me before. The moment he saw my CV and he saw that qualification, he said, this is what I want. And trust me, with confidence, I walked like I'd never walked before. Until today, they will tell you the best executive assistant in the history of Bayelsa State is Julioka Donli. You can find out. The Corporate Affairs Commission, established by the Companies and Allied Matters Act, has as one of its functions the accreditation of lawyers, chartered accountants, and chartered secretaries as the only professional direct users of its services, and means that the chartered secretary can be accredited with the commission and carry out registration of companies and other administrative functions with the commission on behalf of their clients. What this is telling you is that you are versatile by virtue of your qualification. There's so much you can do. So don't just be content with aspiring to be the company secretary. The company secretary of a company is just one person. There are so many other positions that you can fill up as a chartered secretary and administrator, anywhere, anytime. Principle 8 of the Nigerian Corporate Governance Code 2018 also recommends the appointment of a company secretary by all companies. Principle 8.1 of the code provides that the company secretary should be a person with relevant qualifications and competence necessary to effectively discharge the duties of his office. And this provision justifies the fact that as a chartered secretary and administrator, you have better chances at employment opportunities. Chartered secretaries and administrators, from their intensive and detailed training and experience, have the relevant qualification and competence to effectively handle the position of the company secretary. The provisions of the CAMA and the Nigerian Corporate Governance Code offers great opportunities for chartered secretaries and administrators. I failed corporate financial management 3 times. You know, as lawyers, most of us don't like figures. But that subject made me to pay more attention to figures and details. And I was so determined to be a chartered secretary and administrator, I had to pass that subject, and I finally passed the subject. Somebody say hallelujah. So who is a chartered secretary and administrator? Chartered secretaries and administrators are high-ranking professionals in any organization. They possess a wide range of skills unique among the professions. They are high-ranking professionals who are trained to uphold the highest standards of corporate governance, effective operations, compliance, and administration. Obtaining the qualification is a quick way of becoming part of the senior management team of an organization or reaching the boardroom, whichever path you take, finance, administration, or company secretariat. The chartered secretary and administrator is a job position with considerable influence and at the heart of governance operations within an organization. Icsan offers a world-class professional qualification for the position of company secretary. Now, chartered secretaries and administrators can be involved in any aspect of the operations of a company in today's world market. The specific responsibilities of a chartered secretary and administrator varies, depending on the level of the job role, the size of the organization, and the sector in which the organization operates. Chartered secretaries and administrators are the primary source of advice on the conduct of business, and this can span from legal compliance and accounting advice to the development strategy and corporate planning. Providing advice on corporate governance issues is an increasingly important role for chartered secretaries and administrators. The company secretary forms an important link between the board of directors and various other departments in the company. They also ensure that the company maintains good relations with shareholders and the public. Generally, chartered secretaries and administrators maintain other key duties in administration and governance. The role of the chartered secretary and administrator in supporting company operations and board effectiveness can sometimes be overlooked. Hence, it is imperative that as chartered secretaries, we understand our worth and potentials. It is key we know the value we bring to our organizations and clients. Today, the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the biggest crises the world has faced in recent times, necessitates that chartered secretaries step up to their full potentials and provide additional value and support to their organization. The COVID-19 pandemic has had a major impact on how companies operate, and so survival, paying staff, and keeping the business afloat are the focus of most of the companies. With the attention of management teams focused on navigating a way through the pandemic, the chartered secretary must evolve in all ramifications. You must think out of your box. You must make yourself relevant. You must be proactive, and you must be versatile. This means that chartered secretaries and administrators need to broaden their role to become facilitators and enablers in the areas of oversight through to foresight, director reviews, succession planning and inductions, corporate planning, as well as in risk management and strategy. According to a research on chartered secretaries and administrators in Zimbabwe, which is similar to Nigeria, the following are emerging roles. Corporate regulatory compliance roles. The majority of chartered secretaries and administrators have primary responsibility in their current positions to carry out corporate regulatory duties. Corporate administrative roles. The research proves that about 54% of chartered secretaries serve the board or its committees, with 11% serving other non-board committees. Of the 54%, only 27% have primary responsibility to serve the board or its committees, with the majority actively involved in monitoring implementation of decisions. Hence, corporate administrative role is an essential duty of the chartered secretary and administrator. Corporate advisory roles, 27% of chartered secretaries have primary responsibility of advising the board or the company on good corporate practices, including good corporate governance. 67% of chartered secretaries and administrators are actively involved in advising the company on accounting issues, with 63% advising on financial management issues, 55% on tax issues, and 52% on risk management issues. What am I trying to say? As a chartered secretary and administrator, you can function everywhere. When I was appointed Director General of NAPTIP, I'd never worked in a law enforcement agency before, but I functioned because of my experience as a chartered secretary and administrator. I was talking to the Director of Finance like I was a financial expert. I was talking to the head of procurement. You know, I could talk to anyone. I could function in any capacity. I could advise them on how to do their jobs better. Sometimes they'll say, see this madam, now she read this thing, you know. But you see, you have to broaden your scope. You have to keep learning. You have to keep developing yourself, you know, from time to time, you know. And that is how confident we are as chartered secretaries and administrators to excel wherever we find ourselves, irrespective of the field. Some other evolving roles and responsibilities. Emerging roles for chartered secretaries and administrators are in internal audits, human resource management, and entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial undertakings, including professional roles in accounting, taxation, financial management, risk management, and general management functions. Understanding your worth and potentials. To understand worth and potential, it is essential to look to nature for answers to fully grasp the principle of potential. Take, for instance, an orange seed. If I hold up an orange seed in my hand and I ask you what I have in my hand, perhaps you will say a seed. Of course, most likely you will say a seed. The answer is a seed, yes. But the truth is that I hold an orchard in my hands, because in each seed is an orange tree. And in every tree is an orange fruit with seeds that have an orange tree, with an orange fruit, and so on. It is a tragedy when a seed dies, because therein lies the burial of an orchard. So I want to liken you all today to this orchard. Don't see yourselves as just a seed. You're a total package. You have everything right in your hands. All you need to do is to realize this, recognize the potential. You must always remember who you are. You must always remember your worth and display it at any given opportunity. So seated here today at today's events are orchards. If we understand our worth and potentials and push ourselves to achieve our full potentials, the reverse is that if we do not understand our worth and potentials and work towards reaching our full potentials, we remain just seeds. And eventually, that seed dies. The wise man said that all people are sent to the world with limitless credit, but few draw to their full extent. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we owe it to ourselves and all those who have supported our journey thus far to draw to our full extent as chartered secretaries and administrators and become orchards. Your qualification today as chartered secretaries will make you stand out in the crowd with an enhanced professional identity, especially with prospective employers and clients, and will be an instant recognition of your professional and academic achievement and experience. Like the president said, be proud of who you are. Always make sure you put that designation FCIS. I have many designations, but the one I'm most proud about is FCIS. And each time my staff should do my presentation and they don't put FCIS, they get a query for that. Being a qualified member of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria will enhance your professional life and give you a good head start and support structure. Being a chartered secretary is a huge achievement and opens a variety of career opportunities. Chartered secretaries and administrators are high-ranking professionals with a diverse range of skills unique among the professions. Chartered secretaries and administrators, from their learning, have a broad skill set: corporate law, finance, human resources, administration, governance, strategy, and corporate secretarial practice. The reality of today's marketplace means that the chartered secretary can be involved in any aspect of the operations of the company: company secretarial administration, strategy, corporate planning, corporate communications, governance, regulatory, compliance, and human resources, and is a source of advice on the conduct of business and corporate governance. Indeed, the role of the chartered secretary has evolved from being just coordinators and administrators and has become that of gatekeepers and repositories of corporate knowledge, regulations, and good governance. As a chartered secretary and administrator, you will have access to a wide variety of different job roles across many sectors, a diversity of responsibilities, and a fast track to high-level roles, working with high-ranking officers and directors. Opportunities for company secretaries are enormous for those who know their worth and have prepared themselves and can easily take advantage of the opportunities as they become available. Opportunities exist for chartered secretaries and administrators across all sectors in a range of different organizations: the private companies, the public sector, international agencies, the not-for-profit sectors, NGOs, and so on and so forth. There are opportunities for chartered secretaries and administrators in professional service firms such as accountancy, law firms, company secretarial service providers, corporate service and company formation agencies that provide services for companies or individuals at a fee. Some chartered secretaries and administrators run their own business as sole practitioners or small partnerships, providing a range of clients with company secretarial services. Irrespective of the sector or company you find yourself, the same level of expertise and diligence is required from you. As the complexity and pressures of global regulatory compliance continue to increase, the role of the Chartered Secretary and Administrator in governance becomes ever more important. Poor governance has been a feature of many corporate failures in recent years. The Chartered Secretary and Administrator, as the company secretary or governance officer of a company, is the person who must advise the company and board on matters of compliance and governance, and who must take a front seat to drive how the company operates and ensure it does so according to regulatory guidelines, both locally and internationally. Active governance is now of huge importance. Gone are days when non-executives could simply turn up at meetings each quarter to learn what had been going on since the last meeting. Directors are expected to lean forward, keeping themselves actively engaged in the organization's business so that they can carry out their governance and oversight roles with a high degree of knowledge. Every time a director is out of touch, a key opportunity is missed to enrich the organization's thinking and process. The Chartered Secretary, as company secretary of the company, plays a key part in ensuring that all directors remain engaged and focused on their role, and that governance systems and processes remain fit for purpose. He or she has a responsibility to ensure that directors remain engaged between successive boards and committee meetings. Company secretaries and administrators are the glue that hold the board and executives together. They have both the position and opportunity to bridge executive and governance functions to help ensure that they do not operate in a parallel universe. The increasing importance of the Chartered Secretary and Administrator to the modern company and board's operations is leading to a growing number of governance leaders taking on the title of Chief Governance Officer. It is a way to reflect their seat at the top table and to recognize the true nature of the essential work done by the Chartered Secretaries. As a Chartered Secretary and Administrator, you can function properly in any of the following categories: Chief Governance Officer, Chief Corporate Officer, Corporate Manager, Management Consultant, Tax Agent, Compliance Officer. I thought you would be clapping. Human Resource Manager, Corporate Administrator, Company Secretary, Chief Corporate Advisor. Who else can do this if not you? Nobody. As earlier mentioned, Chartered Secretaries and Administrators have transformed themselves from just secretaries into the managerial and governance professionals. Today, they are recognized for their importance on corporate landscape and have become gatekeepers of corporate governance. Corporate Chartered Secretaries and Administrators are key in developing law-abiding culture and sustainable framework for the company. For the board, the Chartered Secretary acts as a principal advisor to the board and ensures good governance standards for the company. It is now necessary that not only the shareholders, but other stakeholders become gatekeepers of corporate governance of the company. As gatekeepers of corporate governance, Chartered Secretaries and Administrators help to rebuild public trust and investor confidence, not just in their companies, but in the Nigerian economy, promote corporate success and economic growth, lower cost of capital, and perhaps help minimize wastage and corruption. As gatekeepers, it is obvious from the above that the Chartered Secretary and Administrator, in diligently carrying out his responsibilities, is not just rendering services to his company, but to the entire nation. The Chartered Secretary and Administrator is an integral part of the smooth running and development of the company. And as Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, we must recognize the value of what we bring to the table and ensure that value is not only recognized, but adequately rewarded. We are not cheap. As the economy continues to grow, the role of the Chartered Secretary will evolve and expand. It is imperative that Chartered Secretaries and Administrators continue to learn, develop, and grow to meet the challenges of tomorrow. Do not rest on your oars and what you have learned thus far. The need to continuously learn, unlearn, and relearn cannot be overemphasized. To succeed in this age of technological advancement, chartered secretaries and administrators will have to be receptive and accept an environment of continuous change. As the nature of work continues to change, with such things as distance working, with machines now performing complex tasks with greater speed and accuracy than humans can, chartered secretaries and administrators must leverage on technology in their roles and allow for soft skills to be to the fore. Technologies are evolving, decisions are being made quickly, and sign-offs are needed urgently. Chartered secretaries and administrators will have to contend with this pace of business and offer pragmatic yet innovative responses that do not compromise compliance, controls, and corporate governance. The ability to respond to change places the chartered secretary and administrator in an advantageous position to exploit opportunities and assume a defensive stance against risk, further elevating his or her position as a trusted strategic advisor to the company and a proactive member of the organization. It is a time of great opportunity, and chartered secretaries and administrators must strike while the iron is hot. Too often, chartered secretaries stay behind the scenes, but if they remain unseen, their value remains unrecognized. That must change now. I would like to say, your qualification as chartered secretaries and administrators will open a vista of opportunities for you. Do not fail to take advantage of the opportunities for you. Do not fail to take advantages of the opportunities as they present themselves and grow to the highest possible level. As you embark on your professional journey, ensure you continuously learn on the go, adapt, evolve, disrupt, innovate, stay consistent, stay inspired, and keep a positive mindset. Remember also that all people are sent to the world with limitless credits, but few draw to their full extent. Please do everything possible to ensure you are among the few that draw to their full extent. I believe strongly that you have all it takes to reach your full potentials as company secretaries and administrators, and I firmly believe that you will. Going forward, endeavor to find out your worth, your value, learn to clearly define and communicate that value. And from this day forward, answer to nothing less than what you are worth. Once again, congratulations to all our inductees and best wishes in all your future endeavors. Thank you very much.
That's a deserving round of applause and a standing ovation. Merci beaucoup, Madame Kodje-Rubenis. Let's be kindly seated. Thank you for honoring her. God will honor you.